Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.5 Meakashi. Last episode, sorry for the little pause there, I was trying to think of what to say. Last episode, Shion met Satoshi after getting harassed by some goons, which was not fun, the harassing part, rather than meeting Satoshi. So yeah, and she started her part-time job while scheming with Mion in order to keep everything under wraps and shit. So yeah, sorry for the long wait since last episode. Circumstance and crap, I started school this week, so yeah, had to get into the swing of things, only managed to get Hyrule Warriors out the other day, had to take a day off, etc. That even though that day off was less due to school and more due to my throat not cooperating with me. But regardless, I was told in the comments of last episode, though, that I'm actually mispronouncing Meakashi. So it's not Meakashi, it's Meakashi. If that makes, or is it, I don't know, the emphasis is supposed to be on the A. So is it Meakashi? I'm gonna say that. I'm reading it like Meakashi, kinda. Meakashi. Meakashi. I don't know. But, yeah, so it's similar. It's the same pronunciation rule for every chapter except for Sumihoroboshi. So, like, it's Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Tatari Goroshi. I don't know if that applies to Himatsubushi. Maybe? Or is it Himatsubushi? It's third from the last, so it'd be Himatsubushi. Meakashi. Okay. I think I got that. But regardless, there's been a new episode of Go. I don't really have much to say about it, really, at all, though, so we're not going to be talking for too long, but regardless, we're going into spoiler time for Go. If you don't want spoilers, then mute. Okay, so Satoko Washi has started, and it seems like it's more or less just a flashback, technically, to the it seems so far like it's a prologue to Matsuri Bayashi. Because they had that whole bit with Takano getting arrested and whatnot, and then there was like a year skip. So it's in 1984, and Rika's talking about going to St. Lucia's and crap, and how she wants Satoko to go with her. So it seems like either this arc is just starting with exposition of how Go technically began, or that's all this arc is going to be. Just exposition, similar to Himatsubushi. But I'm not too concerned either way. If it's just exposition similar to how Himatsubushi was, then I wouldn't be surprised if this arc is only like 2, 3, 4 episodes max. As opposed to, if it's more than that, it'll probably be like 5, 6, 7 episodes max. However, that was what, episode 18, right? So we have only 6 episodes left of Go. So, I don't know, maybe there will be more, maybe it'll get crazier. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a short arc. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's the last arc. But yeah, with a name like Village Destroying Chapter, I'm guessing this first part is just, well, no, even with that, you could probably spin the name of it to be just exposition. There's no deceiving in the name either. So maybe the final arc will be something like Satoko Damashi. I'm assuming Satoko then means village, right? I'm actually gonna look this up. Japanese word for village. Mura, which is not in the name.
Mura. Village. Village.
Oh my god, don't just pronounce the English word for it, unless they actually use village. What are some synonyms? Mura, Bireji, Shiraku, Sato, Inaka, Kotan. What the fuck? Come on. Municipality? Come on. Is it Satoko or Washi? Which is supposed to be the village part. I'm guessing it's Satoko, right?
Global village.
Come on! I want to hear the Japanese name for it.
Fishing village.
Dickhead! What is this? Ryoshicho. That's... Come on. Okay, what... Fine, we'll just look up Japanese word Satoko. What does it mean? Okay, yeah, show the fucking name. What does it mean? Stop being rude. Click the arrow. Why does that not work? Why does the arrow here not work? Is it not... Is my UI not wide enough? What the fuck? People also ask. Yeah, show me it. What does it mean? Hold on, let me go back to the original list. Sato is there. So does Kawashi? That's what it is. I'm a fucking idiot. Okay. Japanese word, Kawashi means, what does it mean? What?
Key.
Key? I'm not trying to translate the word Kawashi into, oh my fucking god. Come on, I'm trying to find this shit out. Okay, I'm guessing it has to mean destroy. Okay, actually, translate destroy into Japanese.
Hakai.
Hakai. Come on. Break.
Yaburu.
Jaburu. Come on. Destruct.
Hakai.
Again, okay. Destruction?
Hakai.
What the fuck? I know this is just Google Translate, but still. What are some synonyms for destroy?
Hakai. Haki. Destroy.
Fuck off! No! That's not what I mean. Break, destroy, explode. What's explode?
Bakuhatsu.
Fuck, of course it is. Alright, whatever. I'm guessing it means Kawashi is destroy, Sato is village. I shouldn't think too hard about it. But it's like, if the arc is about Rika leaving Hinamizawa, then village destroying could make sense. And if it's actually the final arc, and it's gonna be similar to Minagoroshi, like with it being a massacre, then village destroying would also make sense. So I don't know. There's a number of ways that it could be. Maybe the reason why I'm getting... actually, I don't know. Regardless, more talk about Go. I have a comment from episode 1 of the series, which I didn't see in time for last episode, so I didn't mention it. So, comment from Dapper Shinks, which goes, I believe there could be another looper. Not Mion, though. Rena. Well, that or she is inclinated towards remembering fragments. She's had weird offlines like this is just a dream and this world can still be saved, or something like that. Fun fact, you can connect the full cover art for the OP and ED of Go to see Rika holding hands with Rena with serious looks on their faces. The cover of the upcoming new ED features Satoko, and the full artwork has her grabbing onto what looks to be Shion's ribbon. Perhaps an unannounced OP with Shion on the cover? Are we gonna get a tag team battle? Imagine if all the club members were looping and pretending not to be, LMAO. It would be kind of funny if it was just that everyone's looping except for Keiichi. But honestly, like, I can see the point with Rena. I didn't really notice any of her offlines. I noticed a lot more offlines with Keiichi. But I think that could just be a red herring with how... I'm pretty sure most of the time it was trying to give hints like, anyone could be looping as well as Rika. Especially once Nekodamashi started, and they had that whole spiel from Hanyu with that sword that can kill a looper. Not implying that implying that there could be more than one. And even taking Rika a few episodes to realize that could mean there's more than one. So, yeah. Of course, there had to be a specific reason why she latched onto Satoko, because she actually directly confronts her with the whole box thingy. But that could just be with Satoko being the only one afflicted by Hinamizawa syndrome who, you know, actually, like, struck a chord with Rika, saying things that could make her believe they know more than they should, compared to anyone else who's had the syndrome before. But yeah, because it's like, Keiichi was incoherent, Kimiyoshi was incoherent, Akane was incoherent, Akasaka was incoherent, Oishi was incoherent, everybody was. Except for arguably Mion. Rena was just Sumi Horoboshi 2.0. But, yeah. I still think Mion is the most likely candidate. Rena's possible, Shion's possible, Keiichi's possible. I think they're all possible. I just think Mion's the most likely because of the whole thing with the outhouse, and her referring to Satoko as their minion or their goon or something like that at the end of Watanagashi. So, yeah. Plus, if Satoko actually shot Mion at the end of Watanagashi and then herself, then that could literally be the whole thing with, you found out I'm a looper, die. Which, if Mion's not a looper, how could she find out that there are loopers? Of course, it could be that Hanyu or Featherin or somebody talked to Mion, who isn't a looper, and is just like, some of your friends are living through time loops. You need to find out who they are and eliminate them because they are going to destroy the world. And maybe she found out that Rika did it. Maybe she found out that Satoko did it. And she's just like, alright, those two have to die. That could be the source of her Hinamizawa syndrome. If it's even Hinamizawa syndrome. But, yeah, Watanamashi's kind of a weird point in the discussion, you know? Like, Oni Damashi and Tatari Damashi, I feel like are relatively black and white. Obviously, there's the whole thing with Teppei in Tatari Damashi. But Watanagashi, I still feel like there's a lot of things that could have happened in it. So, yeah. If there is another looper beyond a third one, I do think it would have to be either Rena or Keiichi. I feel like Shion's kind of a shot in the dark. But it's possible. Keiichi, honestly, is also kind of a shot in the dark, so I feel like if there's a fourth, it has to be Rena. But I'm still thinking third is Mion, if there's a third, and if there's a fourth, Rena. But, yeah. Rena and Mion are the most likely candidates to be loopers. But then, that would kind of throw a wrench in the whole theory of Rika, Burncastle, Satoko, Lambda Delta, Hanyu, Featherin. Because it's like, then where the hell would Mion, or Rena, or Shion, or Keiichi fit in at all? Unless some of the other, like, metaverse characters from Umineko are supposed to be Higurashi characters, but I don't fucking think that would be the case at all. Because it's like, there's no one I can even bullshit Mion or Shion to be, and I can only barely bullshit Ronave as Keiichi, which doesn't fucking make sense, but he's the only one who looks remotely like Keiichi. Not to mention, he's the only male metaverse character from what I remember. Unless you count Battler, which you can count Battler, but personally I don't because he's an Umineko character. Different person. He's not a metaverse being, is what I should say. He's taken part in it, but he's not a being from it. So then the only other one that there could be, and this one is the biggest stretch in the universe, Eva Beatrice with Rena. Which, no. The only other possibility then in that case would be, like, because it's like Eva Beatrice is to Eva, Beatrice is to Sayo, Ronave is to not Battler, Genji. So, yeah, like, there is Gap, I guess. But, like, because Gap is the only one who doesn't seem to have a, like, alternate, like, among the main 18, you know? Because, like, the only other one it could be would be, like, because, like, who was on Sayo's side? Sayo had Genji with Ronave, Kumasawa with Virgilia, then who the fuck else is there? I don't know. So Gap, potentially, could be something else. But she's not really a witch as much as she's a servant to the witches. So it'd have to be someone on the same level as Burncastle and them, the Delta. And there's no one like that unless they just haven't introduced anyone like that. In which case, if that's what it is, then any of the 4 others could be a looper. Hell, anyone in Hinamizawa could. Irie could, for Christ's sake. Chie could. Oreo could. Like, anyone could be. But, yeah, I feel like there would have to be already some sort of semblance. I mean, there are the 2 new characters in Umineko Saku, but they don't particularly look like anyone. I can't even remember what the other one looks like. I need to look this up. Umineko Saku. Images. Yeah, there's the blue-haired girl, who, again, just looks like a different version of Rika. Then there was another one, right? Wasn't there? Or am I remembering wrong? I'm pretty sure there was. Where would they be? They had, like, a blindfold on or something. And that was about it. They had a blindfold on, and it was the traditional whole overly sexualized design that a lot of the Umineko characters had. But I can't remember. Well, where the fuck are they? Umineko Saku, new characters. I'll just look up Umineko Saku, new characters. Why are you showing fucking Zpar? I hope that one's an edit of that new character doing an Ahegao face. Where is this fucking character? I did not delude them into my mind, did I? I swear I didn't. Do I just go to the fucking Umineko, wiki and check there? I'm gonna just check the wiki. Because if they exist, they're gonna be here. I can't find them on Google Images, so. When They Cry, Umineko, yeah, Umineko. Umineko no Nakakuro ni. Will it show? Episodes, bonus material, Hane, Saku. Previous content, new content. Our confession, come on. Where does it show this new character? Whatever. Fine, we'll just click on a character and hope that it shows, the fucking, like, list of characters in Umineko. Umineko characters, thank you. Okay, humans, magical. Who the hell is Virgilius? What the fuck? This is not the character I was thinking of. Appears exclusively in Last Note. Rival detective to Battler. Well, just looks like a male Erica. Oh, he is a cut character. Oh. He just happened to have a, frickin' sprite. Okay. Where's this character? Why can't I remember? Is it this? Okay, Floros? Yeah, here it is. Okay. And they have blonde hair, so never mind. Thank you. Finally. Christ. That took way too long. Yeah, I said I didn't have much to say about this episode, but yeah, there we fucking go. Alright. Time to continue, guys. Alright, sorry that took so long. Most of that was just me searching the internet trying to find shit like Japanese word translations and characters from Umineko, but yeah, whatever. Let's just start. That must be Satoshi. He looks like what you described, and he has a habit of stroking people's heads. Uh-huh. His name is Satoshi-kun, eh? The boy from earlier is called Satoshi Hojo-kun. Mion said that he's always daydreaming, so she didn't believe that he saved me at first. His little sister is always kicking his butt. Uh-huh. He has a little sister? Yeah. Her name is Satoko. She's funny and shrewd, but is quick to cry when she's cornered. She's fun to watch, but things have been rough for her lately, so she's feeling a bit down. His sister came up naturally in the conversation. I tried to soak up every scrap of information about Satoshi-kun. Why? Why am I trying to ask so much about him? As I asked myself that, the feeling I got when he stroked my head came back to me. I must have been blushing. Nerd. Hello? Shion? Huh? Sorry. I'm here, I'm listening. To start, I hear Satoko's on bad terms with her aunt. Satoshi's mature, so he knows how to conduct himself, but when bad things happen, Satoko really lets herself go. What Sis told me was very interesting. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Satoshi-kun and Satoko are now living with their uncle and aunt. They don't seem like very respectable people. They're always fighting, and the uncle is cheating on the aunt. He mostly lives with his mistress. Satoshi-kun and Satoko entered into that unwelcome environment. What surprises me the most is the fact that Satoshi-kun's parents were the Hojo couple who were the leaders of the pro-dam activists. That fact must have added something to the situation. I don't know what kind of stance the uncle and aunt took during the dam conflict, but they must have taken some indirect blows. Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them so much, and even left them their children. The uncle and aunt obviously can't love those kids. Things have gotten worse this past year, too. Women can be really nasty bullies. Sometimes it doesn't matter who they're bullying, even if it's a kid. On top of that, women tend to care less about propriety than men. As a result, Satoko seems exhausted with it all. I can imagine Satoshi-kun bravely protecting his little sister, just like when he saved me. So, he must be exhausted too, right? Huh? He must be covering for Satoko all the time. So wouldn't you normally assume that he's also feeling worn out? Well, I don't know. Had I said something wrong? Mion sounded a bit taken aback, so that meant Mion can't tell how he's feeling, because he's always wearing that blank look, so she never considered it. How can she be that insensitive even though she's around him all the time? I was amazed to realize that. Well, anyway, what does he usually do? He looks smart, so does he read a lot of books? Yeah, you're right. He likes to read. He's now reading... what's it called? Okay. I continued asking about him. About what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about. I asked Sis all these questions because I wanted to know more about him. It was the first time I'd ever been that interested in somebody. I didn't want to admit that I had feelings like that. Did I fall in love just because of a stroke on the head? Am I stupid or what? When I remember the feeling of his hand on my head, my heart feels tingly. I tried doing it myself, but it didn't feel the same. I'm stupid. What am I doing? Stroking my own head? Sis, I'm done for. I became stupid. What? Why are you laughing in that weird voice? You wouldn't understand this feeling, Sis. When would I see him again? I felt as if my suffocating life had finally grown brighter. Oh, wow, yeah, I was, like, right at the end of the chapter. Not surprising! I always am! Oh, well. Okay. The life I lived really was beginning to suffocate me. I couldn't go out freely, and I always had to make arrangements with Mion before going to work. I'd thought my life would improve after escaping from the school, but in reality, it wasn't that easy. It's not healthy to live like this for too long. Without any friends to hang out with, I felt like I was hibernating, and started to feel the dangers of falling into boredom. All I could think of now was Satoshi Hojo-kun's face. I'd only met him briefly, but my encounter with him had had a great impact on my new life. I felt like something exciting was going to happen. Really, I was hyped up like a little kid. The more I thought about it, I realized I'd been thinking about him a lot lately. This might be a crush. I felt a little ridiculous idolizing him in such a romantic way, though. Then, out of the blue, I got a chance to see him again. Oh, cool. Huh? I saw a familiar face at twilight in the park. He was sitting on the swing. He looked like he was zoning out, or maybe deep in thought. He didn't notice me, even though I was right in front of him. I reminded myself to speak and act like Mion before talking to him. Hey! What are you doing here? Mion, you surprised me. You don't look surprised. I've been standing here for a couple of minutes now. Didn't you notice me? Have you? Sorry, I didn't. He smiled self-derisively and shrugged. He looked depressed, like something was troubling him. Is something bugging you? You can talk to me if you want. Maybe I can help. No, that's okay. Come on, I owe you one from before, Satoshi-kun. Or maybe you don't think this old man can be of any help. Don't you know how mighty I am? I'm okay. You don't have to help me. Huh. What is it then? Are you saying you don't need help from a girl? Thinking him unfair, I puffed up my cheeks in a sulky gesture. Satoshi-kun noticed that and smiled. No, Mion. It's just, I messed up my swing when they needed me the most. Ah, baseball. I mentally rifled through all the information about Satoshi-kun that Sis had given me. He doesn't look like much of an athlete, but apparently Satoshi-kun belongs to a junior baseball team. They're called the Hinamizawa Fighters. I doubt he's very skilled, since I didn't hear much about his contributions to the team. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell many people that he's a member. Given how down he felt as a result of messing up, though, he must be fairly dedicated. I deduced all that from what Sis told me, and carefully chose my words so as to sound like her. What? Are you feeling down just because of that? Hey, it's not that easy to get over, Mion. I pat his back while chuckling. Satoshi-kun would probably call me insensitive. I knew I should listen to him, rather than trying to cheer him up. I forgot to turn off my heater. Give me 1 second. I always fucking do this. Alright, let's continue. I knew I should listen to him, rather than trying to cheer him up. That's a weird line. Acting like Sis was probably the wrong thing to do in this case, but I had no choice. This was just how she'd react in this situation. Instead of feeling down, you should practice even harder and aim for your chance, you know? Practice makes perfect here. Well, if you want to beat the opposing pitcher so badly you're willing to pull some tricks, then I might be able to help you in a few ways. There's no point if I cheat. Satoshi-kun hung his head after letting his regrets out with a big sigh. Surrender, defeat, resignation were all visible in that gesture of his. Are you quick to give up or persistent? If you're a man, then don't you want to be a star and have your 15 minutes of fame? Satoshi-kun grinned and said yes. Of course, that'd be wonderful, but that's not why I play baseball. I just have fun batting and throwing the ball. You can understand that, right? This old man isn't sure. I only love games that I can win. I don't understand how you can love something when you can't be the best at it. That really sounds like you, Mion. Having realized that I'm trying to make him feel better, he laughed along. He didn't look depressed anymore. I guess he was just feeling down because of the game. He wasn't as depressed as I thought. Maybe I just jumped to conclusions when I saw him sitting alone in the park. You always put forth your best effort to win. That's admirable, I think. Yeah, it definitely is. He smiled gently and stood up. Then he started stroking my head. All of a sudden. I totally wasn't prepared for that. Then you blacked out. Huh? Whoa. Ooh. I thought this when he did this last time, but how can he stroke somebody's head so easily? Felt like I had turned into a little kid. Memories from kindergarten came to mind. My face must have been red. I felt embarrassed, but also like I was in heaven. Satoshi-kun stroked me as though petting a cat. I was blushing with my eyes closed. I felt helpless, like a girl being treated by the dentist with her mouth open and her eyes shut. I seriously still don't know what it is with this fucking game and teeth. Like, I mean, this isn't a specific mention of molars or anything, but still. Satoshi-kun didn't seem to notice my feelings at all. He didn't seem to care. I hate him. Okay. With my eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. He suddenly withdrew his hand, out of context. I need to get going. My aunt wants some stuff, so I have to go grocery shopping. Okay. My voice faltered. I was so embarrassed. I'm going shopping, too. What? You are? I thought the maids did all your household stuff. Shoot. I messed up. In the main Sonozaki house, the maids do everything. Therefore, Mion hardly goes grocery shopping, and she's bragged to some people about that. I should have known better. Still, it wouldn't be too hard to find an excuse. I just happened to be in town, so I thought I'd help out with the household stuff. Is that a problem? That doesn't sound like you. You always avoid doing boring stuff like that. You talk too much. No! Stop stroking my head! Satoshi-kun seemed to be having fun with how embarrassed I'd get when he petted me. Anyway, I managed to talk my way out of it. He didn't seem to really care about the details. While walking with Satoshi-kun in the shopping district of Kamiishiki, it suddenly occurred to me. Why had I messed up? I'd known Mion would never go grocery shopping. What an amateurish mistake. Did I make that mistake when I was pretending to be Mion? No. I was probably speaking as Shion. I couldn't keep lying to myself. I had to just admit. It was simply because I wanted to spend as much time with Satoshi-kun as possible. It was easy to see why I was so attracted to him. I'd found something intriguing in my boring life, and I didn't have to feel tense because he thought I was somebody else, etc., etc. His easygoing nature made him fun to be around, and his habit of petting people on the head was fun too. From these symptoms, I could tell I was embracing the feeling of love. I was just casually enjoying that feeling. It wasn't that I fell in love with him. I was just having fun. I could simply spend some fun time with Satoshi-kun without having to think too much. Which one is broccoli? The green one or the yellow one? Okay. That's cauliflower, Satoshi-kun. Hey, could it be that you can't tell lettuce from cabbage either? I'm not that bad. I'm doing my best here. Okay, how is lettuce and cabbage supposed to be easier to tell apart than, fucking cauliflower and broccoli? Like, whatever. Satoshi-kun stared at the heaps of broccoli and cauliflower. After thinking for a while, he reached out for the wrong one. That's not it! Watching you shop is like being on a roller coaster. It's a lot of fun for me, though. You got me. Satoko can't tell the difference either. Which is broccoli and which one is cauliflower? You guys are too funny. Sis had told me that Satoshi was a flaky big brother to his nagging little sister. I hadn't met Satoko, but she must be having a tough time dealing with Satoshi-kun. He stumbles over everything he buys after all. That's cooking salt. It's mixed with pepper. It's different from regular salt. Oh, is it? I think I saw salt and pepper separate in a science experiment once. Separate, rather. Stop making excuses and just put it back on the shelf. This is normal salt. What are you getting next? You're being a great help, Mion. You look smart, but you have serious issues. I think you should study more. That's a little harsh. There. Is this it? In it goes. Ah! That's not it! Don't just throw anything in the basket. Check the price and how many servings it is first. My first impression of Satoshi-kun was that he was strong and reliable. But the more I spoke to him, the more surprised I was at how clumsy and unreliable he was. How do I put it? It was hard to leave him alone. He was dangerous on his own. If he wasn't careful, he might start wondering, do you cross the street when the light is red? Or was it green? And get himself run over by a dump truck. Sweat drop. And get fucking isekai'd, haha, funny. Your total is 1780 yen. Do you have a member's card? Huh? Oh, yes. I do. Huh? Where is it? Oh, sorry. We can't seem to find it, so we'll be alright for today. I finished checking out, ignoring Satoshi-kun as he fished through his wallet full of receipts. That was horrible, Mion. You made me waste points. Don't go slowly fishing through your wallet to look for your member's card in the middle of the evening shopping rush. There was a huge line behind us. Didn't you notice all the evil glares from all the old ladies? Listen, at times like that, you should get it out before reaching the register. Oh, right. That's good to know. It's not only when you go shopping. The same thing goes for when you ride a bus. Satoshi-kun, I bet you don't open your wallet and start looking for change until you're about to get off and have to pay while holding up everyone behind you. No, everyone walks by me and pays their own fare. You know what that means? You're being a super huge bother to everyone. You need to have the money out beforehand. That's just good manners. Do you get it? Okay. You're scary today, Mion. Satoshi-kun smiled as if patronizing me. I couldn't believe it. He was definitely the type who made women want to protect him. Sure, he was fine as he was when he had a busybody like me around him, but I couldn't stop worrying whether he was able to function in society without someone like that nearby. We got plastic bags and sorted out what we bought. Satoshi-kun put a pack of tofu at the bottom of the bag. I slapped his hand and put in a milk carton instead. Okay, there we go. Now your aunt won't freak out when she opens the shopping bag in her kitchen. Thanks. You helped me a lot. I don't think I'm very good at shopping. Just shopping? That's definitely not the only thing. Just kidding. I had realized a few things while I was spending time with him today. He's not just bad at shopping, he's also chronically clumsy. In general, you could call him a slow thinker. That meant, when he stepped into the quarrel with the punks, he must have needed a lot of courage. He might be a simpleton, but he's not stupid. He's aware of his weaknesses. So, he must have been aware of the danger in that situation. He could have chosen to walk away even though I was in trouble, but he chose to be a man and stepped in. That was really admirable of him. Good boy. You did a great job. There. What is it? Don't stroke my head. I'm rewarding you for shopping successfully today. There. You're making fun of me, aren't you, Mion? No, I'm not. Can you go home by yourself? Do you know how to get there? You are making fun of me. Satoshi-kun's sulky face flushed red. Nah, he's just too cute. Shion, you're a nerd, okay? At that point, I caught a glimpse of a billboard from the corner of my eye. Piano lessons, call XX. Abacus class. Junior baseball team, members wanted. It was a posting for the team Satoshi-kun belonged to. It showed the day, time, and place for their next practice. By then, I knew just how flaky he was. I figured he must be just the same when playing baseball. Satoshi-kun realized that I was reading the posting. He looked uncomfortable and walked away. I know what you're thinking. I beg you, Mion, don't come to see me playing baseball. Am I right? What does that mumbling mean? I know I'm right. Satoshi-kun became quiet after mumbling something. Seemed like he couldn't say anything back, since I had been right on the money. Satoshi-kun, you're just too cute. Is that your catchphrase? I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Well, that might have just been the way innocent people like him would react in a situation like that. See you, Satoshi-kun. It's getting dark, so be careful on your way back. Aren't you going home, Mion? To Hinamizawa? I have to make a stop somewhere first. Don't worry about me. I'll help you this time. In return. I'm okay. What are you going to help me with anyway? You should learn to support yourself before you try to help me. You're really mean today. He seemed to have some pride at least. He looked a bit upset because he was teased by a girl. But in contrast, I felt very satisfied. You masochist, wrong one, sadist. As a result, I forgot to keep my guard up. Thank you for the help. That was sweet of you. Whoa! While wearing a bright smile, Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head again. I know he's teasing me, but I can't reject him. He keeps doing it only because he's realized I won't resist. Oh. You are such a nerd. See you, Mion. You should go home before it gets dark. See you in school tomorrow. Yeah, see you in school tomorrow too. In fact, I wouldn't see him tomorrow at all. It felt awkward, but I had to settle for that. I had to thank Sis for letting me use her name. After I separated from him, I found myself giddy and wishing to see him again as soon as possible. I wanted to know more about him. I couldn't wait for my next chance to see him. Actually, maybe there was something I could do. Just like when I obtained my freedom from St. Lucia's, I could choose how to live my life. Whatever, it wasn't that complicated. I just wanted to tease him more. I wanted him to stroke my head more. And, whatever. I already knew the schedule for his baseball team. I thought she was going to say something like, I can just switch with her and go to school. She probably will do that eventually. Oh, new tip. A crumpled diary. Achievement unlocked, a hopeless pear. It's a picture of fucking broccoli. Alright, new tips. A crumpled diary. My aunt finally stopped her hysterical screaming. Today was just like any other day. I can't remember what set her off. Whatever it was, she changed subjects constantly anyway. It didn't matter. She went on past midnight again. The urge to sleep was pounding the back of my head. Once Satoko had been able to relax, she fell down on the spot and started sleeping, still clinging to my sleeve. I carried Satoko to the bedroom and laid out our futons. Here, Satoko. Your futon is ready, so get in, okay? Satoko crawled in like a worm. She stopped moving when she was inside. I wished I could go to bed too, but I couldn't. My aunt asked me to do some chores. I had to get toothpaste after school tomorrow. I had to write it down somewhere. I had to make rice for lunch tomorrow. I set the timer. Right, I also had to repile? That's a word? Okay. The towels in the bathroom. That was the reason for today's scolding. My aunt will get mad if everything isn't done the way she wants. Oh, and there was something else. I was working at the grocery store the next day. They wanted me to bring an apron. Did we even have an apron in this house? I'd never seen one. My aunt will be sleeping when I go to school, so I won't have time to ask her. What should I do? Since Mion helped me get that job, I don't want to screw it up. In that case, why don't I ask Mion about it at school? She might lend me one. Was there anything else? I was envious of Satoko because she got to go to bed. It was pathetic that I felt that way. Damn. These little insights into what Satoshi and Satoko are dealing with is fucked. I'm actually surprised, though, that their aunt is not a bum like Teppei is, but rather, she's a fucking hard ass, you know? Hey there! How are you guys doing in the heat? Yeah, I figured she was posing as Mion. Oh, Mion-san. We're doing good. Is that our refreshment? Thanks a bunch. You're such a great manager. I just felt like coming here. I didn't bring this for you, by the way. And don't treat me as your manager without my permission, please. Oh, you have a baseball uniform too. That would fucking make sense, I guess. We'd be a stronger team if you were our manager, Mion. Why don't you apply? As manager, I mean. Satoshi-kun smiled at me in a carefree manner. I didn't want to become their manager. It'd be tiresome. I've been coming every week, though, so I'm a quasi-manager already. Well, if I feel like it. Anyway, how's Satoshi-kun doing, coach? Is his batting average improving? Yes, he's doing fine. His batting average is, well, if you buy 3 packs of rice crackers, it's 7 smart. Does that mean it's 30%? Wow, you're doing great, Satoshi-kun. It's not just about the number, Mion. I have to be able to hit the ball when it really counts. It's good that you're aware of your weaknesses, Satoshi-kun. You just continue working on them for now. Irie signaled to the pitcher, who then threw the ball. Satoshi-kun looked calm, following the ball with his eyes. Then he swung. Thwack! The ball flew between the first and second bases and landed in the distance. Wow! That's great! Good job, Satoshi-kun! I clapped, and Satoshi-kun blushed in response. He repositioned his helmet to hide his face. Well, he's good in practice when the game is slow. Irie smiled compassionately. It seemed that Satoshi-kun really couldn't perform well when it counted. While he was usually good, when everybody expected him to perform, he couldn't. That makes sense. I didn't think it was because of nervousness. He just couldn't do it. I think it's a perfect fit for Satoshi-kun's character. He seems calm at first glance, but he's actually slow. Numerically speaking, you're a great player, but you need to be able to hit the ball even when things get serious. That's why you were an easy out in the match with the Yukita Jaguars the other day. Shut up, I know that. If he'd been able to hit the ball then, he would have been a hero. What a shame. A hit could have put the offense into the lead, or at least given them an extension. That was when Satoshi-kun came up to bat. Irie wanted him to live up to everybody's expectations, but statistically, that wasn't likely to happen. Yet Irie insisted on giving him a chance, in spite of the fact that all the team members had suggested a pinch hitter. Ah! It would have been perfect if you could have hit it! Why didn't you? Why can't you hit the ball in a situation when it really matters? There was nothing I could do. I know I'm weak in a situation like that. I thought a pinch hitter was a better idea too. It's not about the match, it's about you, Satoshi-kun! Ah! You need to be more aggressive. Shouldn't you have thought the opposite way? Shouldn't you have insisted that you'd come up to bat no matter what everybody else said? I can't believe you wanted to give away the chance to some pinch hitter. Why are you so weak like that? That's what I'm always telling him. I know that's one of his good points too, but, you can be a gentleman at other times, but when playing games, you should be a demon. I think all men should have those two sides to them. You need to let your demon out, Satoshi-kun. You're native to Hinamizawa, so never forget that you have the demon's blood running through your veins. Are you listening, Satoshi-kun? I am. I'm not sure, but... This face just feels funny, you know? What aren't you sure about? We're talking about you. So... Whoa! Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head. He looked delighted for some reason. A blush immediately spread across my face. I didn't know how to respond. You're giving me advice, right? Thanks. I'll do my best. Hey! Don't you try to fool me! I'm not. I'm just happy that you care about me. I couldn't resist his hand, and I couldn't help mumbling like he does. Satoshi-kun ran back to the field, leaving me red as a beet. Do you feel good when you have your head stroked? Depends. If it were you, I'd have to teach you a new martial arts technique. Ah, what a shame. Alright, everyone, gather around. Why don't you split into groups and have a practice match? The Hinamizawa fighters are a sort of lazy team. The members gather simply to enjoy playing baseball, not to fight for victory. The Okinomiya Titans use this field too, but they practice on a different day of the week. They always train hard using dumbbells and stuff. I'm assuming that is separate from baseball, like they lift weights to train for baseball, rather than they use dumbbells while they're playing baseball. Our team split into two groups and started a match, retaining their loose atmosphere. I'll keep track of the score. Coach, do you have a pencil? Thanks for helping out. Here. I took the pencil and the clipboard. I didn't know how to differentiate between recording hits and errors at first, but by now I was used to it. Show me what you got, Satoshi-kun! Oh, maybe it'll be too much pressure if I cheer for you too excessively. Just do okay then. That doesn't sound very encouraging either. Do your best. Time passed slowly that Sunday. Huge white clouds appeared in the sky. They made me feel healthy. Humans are born to be active under the sun. One of the parents was acting as umpire today, so Irie sat on the bench with me. He shouted words of encouragement to the kids while they ran to their positions. Any other baseball coach would constantly berate them, but he was much more generous, like a kindergarten teacher. He let the kids have fun while watching over them. To other baseball players, it might look a little naive. I'm surprised you guys can do well with only a small amount of practice. Kids in Hinamizawa romp around every day, so the amount of exercise they get surpasses that of the city kids. Besides, too much training is not always effective. Wow, you think completely differently from the Okinomiya Titans. I can understand why their coach hates you. It's not about being right. Matches exist for someone to win after all. So, prioritizing victory certainly isn't wrong. I think it's admirable to aim for victory together. But the goal of our team doesn't happen to be victory. That's all. The Hinamizawa Fighters and the Okinomiya Titans had been rivals for a long time. Both teams shared the same baseball field, for one thing. And originally, there was only one team, but the people living in Hinamizawa left and made their own. Anyhow, we were rivals. The Okinomiya Titans were strictly about winning, and the Hinamizawa Fighters were just about having fun. Surprisingly, our scores weren't that different, which meant our team had something they didn't. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I knew what made that happen. Hey, Team 1, no slacking! You can make up the 2-point difference pretty easily. Team 2, no slacking either. Still, some parents would criticize our coach for being too lenient, but still others would strongly agree with him. What side would I take? The latter? I couldn't really say for sure. The reason for this was that Irie had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment, okay? I mean, I know, but... In particular, he had a fascination with maids, but I should talk about that some other time. Satoshi-kun let the ball pass twice to see its trajectory, then hit it on the third pitch and ran to first base. Oh, he did it! He's so good when he's relaxed. In the beginning, he used to get tired very easily. He's improved quite a lot since then. He really does look like kind of a bookworm. I wonder why he started playing baseball in the first place. All the other kids who joined the baseball team loved baseball. They'd go out to play in the fields outside of practice. That's why they all had an aptitude for it. But Sis never said that Satoshi-kun exercises intensively in school or anywhere else. He only likes to read. That's why I didn't understand why he started playing for this team to begin with. That's because I invited him. Is that so? You recruited him? Did you notice some sort of hidden talent? Excuse me. Can I have a cup of barley tea? Ah, thank you. Irie asked for tea in a suspicious manner. While he constantly joked around, I knew he was actually a very mature person. I assumed he was trying to evade my question. Is there a particular reason? Irie pretended he didn't hear me, but I pressed him on it. In response, he shrugged and began answering the question. I think I know a reason. I think you might be able to guess. What would be Shion Sonozaki's guess? I quickly searched through the data I had on Satoshi-kun. I came up with Satoshi-kun's family circumstances. I mean, there's that too, but... He lost his parents in an accident a year ago. Since then, he's been having a tough time at his uncle's home. So, you invited him so that he could vent? Sports are great. You can free yourself through exercise. I thought that as long as he concentrated on something else, he could forget about his troubles at home. Well, yeah, it could be a dual reason. I'm actually going to go into spoiler time for a minute. Not for Go, but for the original anime. So, how do I word this? So it's a dual reason, probably. Irie wants to help him vent, but also he might see traces of Hinamizawa syndrome in him, so he wants to keep an eye on that, and and venting with baseball could be helping to fight the symptoms of it. Because, like, he does kill his aunt, eventually, and we're probably going to see that happen, even. Or at least see the events surrounding it, perhaps not from his perspective. Unless the tips show that, like, eventually he's like, I'm gonna kill my aunt, ha ha ha, you know, but still. It could just be a dual reason as far as that goes, so, yeah, let's continue. You know he's usually sort of a daydreamer, zoning out all the time. Is he still stressed? I knew Satoshi-kun must be suffering even though he didn't look like it. But Shion Sonozaki never pays attention to things like that, and I had to act like she does. Act like she does, rather. Satoshi-kun got really sick after his uncle took him into his custody. He had many clinical symptoms, but the causes were unknown. Satoshi-kun often got sick after he was taken into his uncle's custody. He suffered from fatigue and migraines. He suffered from a lack of energy and sleeplessness. The coach, Dr. Irie, soon realized Satoshi-kun was suffering from a psychological disorder. Oh, okay. Most of the people in Hinamizawa knew how bad Satoshi-kun's environment was. It was natural for him to become sick, because he entered that bad environment right after his parents' deaths. Satoshi-kun cannot express himself freely. Whether it's crying or simply being agitated, he's not good at handling those emotions. That's true. I can't imagine him being angry or crying. Did you know Satoshi-kun's mother had been married a few times already? Yeah, I know a little bit about that. Satoshi-kun's mother had married a number of men over the years. That meant Satoshi-kun had several stepfathers. He had to deal with strangers coming into his home multiple times, so he was forced to be mature. Satoshi-kun is mentally underdeveloped. He isn't aware of it himself, though. He didn't have enough time to cry, laugh, and throw tantrums in his childhood. He was forced to become a grown-up in just a short time. That doesn't sound right. Children have to behave like children in order to grow. There's nothing positive about being forced to become an adult. Not only was Satoko's current relationship with her aunt conspicuously terrible, I heard that her relationships with her previous stepfathers weren't good either. Satoko always caused problems, and Satoshi-kun would always step in to protect her. I thought his physical symptoms came from the stress. His body was trying to warn him. That's why Irie invited Satoshi-kun onto the baseball team. He told Satoshi that he needed a new member, or something like that. He hesitated at first, but after I talked to him at the clinic a few times, he began to open up to me. First, I invited him to come see the practice. Then I suggested he try batting. I eased him into it. Sports worked excellently for Satoshi-kun. His health quickly improved and he started to become interested in baseball. He practiced batting, he was soon able to swing beautifully, and he learned how to see the trajectory of the ball. I can imagine that. He likes to read, so he must have read a book titled How to Play Baseball or something like that. He's become a good batter very quickly. He's put forth a lot of effort. Though I wish he could actually hit it when it comes down to the wire too. Are you guys close? I think so. He talks to me about his problems, so I guess that's a sign of trust. I felt a bit jealous of how confidently Irie said that. While Satoshi-kun and I were friends, we weren't so close that we'd open up to each other like that. Oh, are you jealous? Huh? About what? Taken aback, I blushed. Irie started laughing at me. Please stay as his good friend. Well, yeah. I'm trying. I didn't know what I was saying. You know, regarding Satoshi-kun, he seems a little sick again lately. What? Oh boy. Thwack! The ball flew to the left, but the left fielder managed to catch it. It seemed that the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had gotten worse lately. It was obvious his sickness had something to do with that. Their aunt is bullying Satoko-chan in a terrible way. She's become worn out after all that, and so Satoshi-kun is also worn out from covering for Satoko, isn't he? I wasn't interested in Satoko, so I switched the subject back to Satoshi-kun. You're already being a jackass, Christ. I didn't know much about Satoko. I knew that she was a big part of Satoshi-kun's life, but I'd never been interested in her until today. She must have been building up self-esteem and taking care of her unreliable brother. That was all I knew about her. But considering Satoshi-kun's personality, even that goofiness of his might have been an act. Maybe he was trying to make her feel good about herself by letting her take care of him, if only unconsciously. When he's alone, he's surprisingly strong. I realized that only recently, so I couldn't help but think that his whole life is constantly affected by Satoko. Satoshi-kun managed to get along with his stepfathers even though he experienced some stress. He was even getting along with his aunt. But in order to protect Satoko, he always had to step in and suffer. I didn't really know anything about Satoko, but I had to admit I felt hostile toward her. I felt jealous because she was monopolizing him. It seems that their aunt has been tyrannizing Satoko-chan even more lately. That must be what's causing Satoshi-kun's sickness. Irie heaved a sigh. As he said, Satoshi-kun had been absent a few times lately. He seemed a bit tired, too. He looked normal when around everybody else, but he looked a bit depressed when he was alone. So, you invited him to join the team to relieve his stress, didn't you? Yes, that's right. But he looks stressed again now. How can we save him this time? I don't know. Irie smiled powerlessly. I couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed about that, because Satoshi-kun put his trust in him. Just between you and me, Satoshi-kun recently told me that he wanted to leave the team. Huh? How come? He claimed he was tired of it. That's what he said. But I believe he actually wants to spend more time with Satoko-chan. He thinks that Satoko-chan might end up being tortured while he's at practice. I think he's concerned about that. I was left speechless for a while. Satoko again. Satoko. Why did Satoshi-kun have to sacrifice so much for her? I'm already seeing rumblings of shit happening later. Just by ignoring her, his stress would melt away. Of course, I knew he couldn't do that. If that were the case, then the blame lay with his little sister. I knew how badly she had been treated. But that only happened because she made things worse for herself. It was her fault that she couldn't establish a decent relationship with their aunt. If Satoko were more mature, like Satoshi-kun, her home life wouldn't have gotten so bad. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer those indirect blows. In the meantime, the baseball team's practice match had become one-sided. It wasn't even worth watching anymore. The members of the losing team were just goofing off. The sky had turned cloudy, too. It was depressing. It didn't look like it'd rain soon, though. The gray sky hadn't brought along any cool air. It just felt disgusting. Irie became quiet. He was looking down around his feet. I, meanwhile, just stared at Satoshi-kun. To me, he didn't look active anymore. He was once able to enjoy playing baseball, and he felt fine. But he got sick again, just because the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had deteriorated. I couldn't help but say it. Shouldn't we do something about Satoko instead? It was just a murmur, but Irie had definitely caught it. What do you mean, Sonozaki-san? It's not that complicated. If Satoko were stronger, Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to deal with stress. I think Satoko is the cause of everything. I don't know about that. Yes, you do. If she didn't cause any trouble, he wouldn't have to step in, would he? He wouldn't have to take over in the fight between Satoko and her aunt, right? Satoshi-kun never got scared of any trouble. No matter how formidable the enemy, he'd bravely stand up to protect the weak. I knew that because I could vividly imagine it. Oh, shatter. Oh, okay. I thought it was somewhere at the baseball field. I was like, what's going on? Whenever their aunt chides Satoko, Satoshi-kun steps in to protect her. The aunt probably didn't like it. Though Satoshi-kun didn't have to fight, the aunt would attack him anyway. The fight would then be between the aunt and him. Satoko might then tease the aunt by sticking out her tongue, hiding behind his back and pretending to be scared. You don't even know her, but you know her. Weird. I mean, granted, not exactly, but like, in a less serious situation, that's what she would do, you know? She'd never think about how deeply he was being hurt. Because of Satoko, Satoshi-kun had become cornered and stressed. I'm surprised to hear this from you, Sonozaki-san. I thought you were Satoko-chan's friend, her classmate, a big sister kind of figure. I thought you'd always be on her side. But what you've said is surprising to me. Irie looked at me suspiciously. I could tell what he was thinking about me. I'd said too much. Shion Sonozaki and Satoko Hojo are friends. They're close, so Shion should have been encouraging her after the situation at home got tougher. That's what Shion was supposed to do. I had totally forgotten about that and spoken as myself. It's only natural that Irie would give me a suspicious look. He might end up changing his impression of Shion Sonozaki entirely. I'd have to apologize to her about this and ask her to put things right. I'd totally messed up. Even so, I didn't think I'd said anything wrong. I'd objectively looked at the situation and made a modest proposal. To be honest, I was simply afraid that he might leave the team. I couldn't go to the school in Hinamizawa, so the baseball field was the only place where I could see him. I could even say that he was my reason for living. That's right, I was in love with him. But I wasn't going to tell him how I felt, for I was satisfied just being by his side. I certainly couldn't ask for anything more. After all, I couldn't reveal my true identity. I had to pretend to be Mion in order to live in Okinomiya. I thought that maybe I should leave Okinomiya in order to be free, but that's stupid. No matter how tough my life might be, I prefer to be here, with Satoshi-kun stroking my head every now and then. Why did I love him that much? I've read about it in some manga once. You don't need a reason to be in love. I was surprised at myself for being like this. Calm down, Shion. I breathed out slowly, then held my breath, trying to slow my throbbing heart. I still said that in Mion's voice, but I probably shouldn't have. I felt a bit calmer. At that point, a queer thought came into my head. I want to be with Satoshi-kun. So, I want him to stay on the team. So, I want to get rid of his concerns and his stress. So what? So, what can I do to achieve all that? My head started to cool down as I heard the umpire shout, "Game, set, and match!" Interesting. This chapter is very strong so far. Christ. Tip? No tip. Achievement? No achievement. Oh, hello. Some days I see him, some days I don't. A clear sky gets cloudy, and rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of breakdown. Notebook, page 19. Alright. Well, I realize I did talk for like 20 minutes at the beginning of this episode, so I really only read for about 40. But I'm still going to end this episode here, because I think it's a good enough stopping point, plus I want to go make food. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!